Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host
Chip.
There he is. What is going on?
Oh,
Great
man.
to see you on tonight. It's been at least 23 hours,
Give or take.
give or take a couple. So today we are going to talk about the big gains, XRP Ledger building bridges to future gains. Stablecoins are beginning to raise concerns amongst certain government representatives. And there's so much more to talk about because that cashless society is getting closer and closer and closer. Ready to kick this thing off?
Yep. I can almost feel it.
Oh. Let's go.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Welcome to On the Chain. Yeah, welcome to On the Chain. So, yeah, there's a lot going on, as always.
Fire it up.
Yeah, Congress is like Maxine Waters introduced that they have this new blockchain working group, which is
Gotta love the working groups.
Working groups, they're great because as I tweeted, someone had tagged me and said, "Hey, Chip, catch up." And I was like, we already talked about this. Talk is cheap, past the token taxonomy. And there was somebody, some guy in Congress was like, "Oh, I'm so proud to be part of this." Yeah, let's all be part of a club. And the club's going to get together. You know what they're going to do? They're going to talk. And you know what's going to happen? Nothing.
We're going to talk some more. I wonder who's bringing the donuts.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the most important part of the actual talk. She announced the digital assets working group.
Which donuts and when?
Digital assets payment, blah, 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 blah. Consider how to devise legislation. This is how pathetic it is. This token taxonomy has been sitting on her desk. Darren Soto, obviously from Florida, a Democrat. Warren Davidson, Ohio, a Republican. Support. It's one of the few things they agree on. And they got Ted Budd and a bunch of others, Emer, a bunch of different people from Congress that are all in. But no. Oh, no. They know better. They got to do their own thing. And this is going to go nowhere as fast. It's just a complete and utter waste of time.
I'm trying to look. There was another big statement about the work group today, and it kind of came through and is gone now. If I can find it while we're talking, I'll bring it up.
Yeah,
but
go ahead. Until then, Jeff, then what are we going to do? And, what I'm starting to like out there is I'm starting to like some of the positive stuff going out there. Like this has been floated a lot of times, but again, I like to see it because I do think that there's a lot of excitement out there. And for instance, Ripple looks to the future with groundbreaking IPO following the settlement of the SEC lawsuit. And I think this is actually really good. It says, what a difference 6 months make in the world of crypto. In December 2020, the lawsuit threatened to expel Ripple from the crypto landscape for good. A little exaggeration, but it's a great opening line. The complaint by the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, better known as the SEC, alleged that Ripple was too centralized, regarded as a cryptocurrency. No, that's not what they alleged, but okay. And thus must be recognized as an unregistered security. No, that's not correct either. Let's just stick with the headline, Jeff. It looks awesome that there could be a groundbreaking, but they do go here. Here you go, a little bit of the ups and downs here. But they did pull out a Garlinghouse quote. He said, in the next 12 months, you'll see IPOs in the crypto blockchain space. We're not going to be the first. We're not going to be the last, but I expect us to be on the leading side. It's a natural evolution for our country and or our company, I should say. And, he's saying something there because, of course, why wouldn't they? $10 billion they're worth right now. And there's all this other stuff like we covered last night, 6 Clover, 6clover.com. And they, they're doing a payments thing built on the algo, blockchain. And they had Sully, whatever his name is. He was from formerly of Ripple. That's why they had the Ripple logo at the bottom there. But he's a former Rippler. And he also worked on the liquidity. He might have worked on liquidity, but anyway, so they're trying to get into a space, break into a new payments thing.
There were some interesting statements about that. I was reading on Twitter, somebody brought up that if you look at the names, they say, Rapid, that's the name of their product, but think Ripple with XRapid.
Right.
So Ripple at X Rapid, they have Rapid. They dropped the X and they're taking on Swift. So, it's interesting as they're trying to follow a very similar pattern that Ripple, kind of laid out the groundwork for. And, Ripple had to rebrand to the ODL, which was the on-demand liquidity, which was more meaningful than Swift, and it was kind of that game-changing moment for instant settlement and taking things to the next level. And, we got to dig in even deeper into Six Clovers. I welcome the competition in every industry.
But Jeff,
I think
how do you
it's a net
explain this,
positive
though?
overall,
I mean,
Well,
I mean, I get the whole name Rapid, but quite honestly, man, slow. It's not resonating with me.
no,
Slow. It's
but
better
it's
known as
it's
Swift.
yeah. So, Rapid, Swift, X Rapid, they're kind of, moving in that direction.
Of
But
course, I'm
but it
playing. It's
is,
really
but it's
called
built
Ramp,
on,
like on
right. It's
ramp.
built on, it's built on the Algorand, So it's good that they're also building it on a different platform. Why not? It's a nice outreach.
Yeah. So
See
Wellington
how it
Scully.
develops.
Yeah, he led the strategic partnerships and foundation strategy for what's now called RippleNet on-demand liquidity as an early employee of cryptocurrency and blockchain platform Ripple, currently at SVP at Crypto Prime Broker SFXOS, Safe SFOX, whatever. So yeah, he's former Rippler, and that, of course you want to throw that in there because you want, you're going to get it all in there, right? PayPal. Hey, I showed up at PayPal as an intern. Put the PayPal logo on there. No, they actually logged some time there, but of course it all looks good. I spent time with the CTO, Nas Kavian. He spent like I think 7 years at OK Coins. Good for them, man. I mean, like I said, it's good to see. Now somebody else brought up and that I had seen out there, Jeff, that how do they tackle the whole on-demand liquidity thing? That project's a game changer as far as you you have a stable coin that you're moving back and forth, but again, a stable coin tied to what? Fiat? I don't know. It's not necessarily the future in that sense. The whole idea of stable coins, there's no volatility in them. Yeah, you could potentially store it there and kind of, it fluctuates a little bit, but with fiat on its way out, I'm not sure it's building to the future. I think it's more building on legacy stuff when you're dealing with, you're keeping legacy sort of values alive when you're dealing with the whole, it's tied to fiat. All stable coins are usually tied to some sort of fiat. With the US dollar just taking a plunge and not doing well around the world, I don't know if that's you're building the future on that. I think you're sort of
I agree with that.
bridging the past.
Yeah, I agree. That was the differentiation with RippleNet over others. I think R3 with the Corda, what they're reaching out to do, Stellar with XLM, they're changing the mechanism. They're changing the conversation a little bit. As soon as they kind of roll out with the stable coin does add a little bit of the comfort. However, the whole idea is that your money is transitioning through XRP, transitioning through the XRP ledger. It's not staying in XRP. It's not, it's not going to sit, somewhere stagnant for an extended period of time. You're going to have digital pounds. I'm going to have digital dollars. You don't want USDC, and I don't want the British pound version of a stable coin. You're still going to have limitations from a banking perspective on what you can and can't hold. You're going to want to hold, for many reasons, the sovereign currency of the country that you reside in, and your business transactions, individuals or businesses, are also going to be transacting in their currency. As a business person, we're not going to hold an exceptional amount of British pounds, even in a digital representation. It's going to be in US dollars, and you're going to hold pounds, and you're not going to hold US dollars. So for us to then transact in USDC, how's that going to work? It doesn't. It makes sense to some extent, and I'm sure there's a full use case, and it's a great project. But at the end of the day, replacing a SWIFT mechanism, I'm going to send dollars. It's going to move through. It's going to be converted to, and you're going to receive British pounds. That's all we care about. We don't need all the other mechanism in place. And I think that's it.
No, I think you're right. But
Yeah.
I like different. I like experimentation. You're gonna have to try a lot of different things to see what's gonna get some adoption, or if you get any traction with it any time. But what the great thing about blockchain is, especially if you're building on different types of, depending on what ecosystem you're building in, that I think it's a lot easier to pivot and be successful than, let's say, you raise a bunch of money with the early fintech companies and you're like, let's go solve this problem. It was really difficult to do a quick pivot and say, okay, that's failing. Let's move into something else. And part of the issue that isn't present with these blockchain companies, they can pivot on a dime. So go ahead, go quickly, just do your thing, right? I mean, so that's kind of a cool thing. And they see if it works, and cool. If it doesn't, I mean, by the way, Jeff, why are lumber prices falling fast? I just saw this like trending on Twitter. I'm like, why are a week ago they were like, it was like almost better than holding gold if you had like, lumber. I guess the supply chain's maybe catching up.
I didn't even really look at the news today.
Yeah, well, I haven't really.
Home building bounces back as lumber prices cool.
How about this one, Jeff? Texas can carry handguns without a license or training.
That's nice.
The Wild West, man.
I like it.
Can you imagine back in the day, like, you're a cowboy, you're riding through on a horse, and be like, hey, do you have your license? What? What kind of training do you have anyway? Get out of here, man. You're not welcome in this part of town. You ain't welcome here in this part of town. With the little thing coming out of us. Yeah. Jeff, you look really engrossed over there. What do you got going on there?
I'm trying to figure out what this is. I don't know. You
I
brought
want to throw this up there. This is a kind of rehash of something the other day, but they put out so Zinfin put out a nice, this is XDC, of course, kind of a cool little graphic to kind of showcase their partnership with Flare Finance. And remember, Flare Finance is not Flare. It's not the same as Flare with the Spark token. This is Flare Finance. They're doing something a little bit different. But I love this graphic that they put together here. The kind of anytime you can easily show it, like bi-directional bridge, establishing, you can bring every F asset. That's so funny they call it an F asset, like F asset, to the XDC network and XDC to the Flare network. You got something called Launchpad, which the XDC projects will be provided the opportunity to use Flare Finance Launchpads for future token and project launches. The Flare X. XDC is listed on FlareX against all FSS and stable currencies like Doge and FXRP, F80A, Algo. But I don't think Algo is an F. Is Algo an F token? I think it's more of like a wrap there. But anyway, Flare Farm. But anyways, a nice little graphic here. It's always a little bit fun to see. I like that. I thought I would just kind of look at that. The Flare Farm. So XDC is on Flare Farm, and Flare Finance will provide an amount.
Well, this whole thing, the whole Flare Finance, is kind of in a different. It's not. Realm. It's different than Flare Network.
Mm-hmm.
Two different entities. So, we're looking at other things that'll be done there,
like the YFIN and XDC stake in mind. So you'll be able to do some DeFi stuff and earn yield and stuff like that. So if you're an XDC holder, you get an additional chance to yield outside of the main XDC network. And, I think, Jeff, when you and I looked into what it was, to run a validator, or not a validator, what am I thinking about? To run a
node.
To run a node, yeah, node. It was a lot of that. Back in the day, it was like something like 50 or 60 grand.
It was expensive.
Just to get that puppy rolling. So again, now, if you hold, if let's say you hold XDC, you can now go ahead and you can still do yield on it. And that's kind of a cool thing. And of course, Flare loans, which XDC will be listed on the Flare loans. You can use that against collateral on loans to generate stable currency. Lenders and borrowers earn a variable APY in the form of the YFIN. So anyway, kind of cool. A nice little rehash. I like the graphic. I thought it was pretty cool, pretty interesting.
Yeah. Hey, I was checking this out, and about Palantir, so I want to bring this up.
I do, Jeff.
I thought this was interesting. You kind of introduced me to Palantir, back in the early days.
Right,
Um,
early on.
Early on.
Only because I'm a
So
big Peter Thiel fan. That's why I've been watching it for years.
that's it. Yeah. So the Palantir CEO, I thought this is so relevant. I like what he's saying here because it's interesting when you see a CEO come out and talk about the individual investors. And then
Right.
on the other side of, you have the SEC that singles out individual investors. Many outspoken voices on the other side are against the individual investors. And what I like about this statement, he came out and he's explaining why he has such a Reddit crowd. And look at this. He said, "We respect the intelligence of rigor of what is typically called individual investors." I mean, it's great. It's such a great, idea. It's such a great philosophy. Look, we speak in clear English about what we're going to do because of what we respect the intelligence and the rigor of what is typically called individual investors. I mean, I love it.
Well, it's
And then they
great,
go on,
Jeff.
they're going to talk about it. And I was thinking about from that perspective, wouldn't it be great if other companies, other projects would have that same thought process and come out outspoken about it that, hey, we like the individual investors. We want to
Right.
embrace the individual investors. We want to engage with the individual investors because they have a lot to contribute.
Well, and a lot of times you're right. I mean, everyone forgets that it's yeah, okay, sure, there can be a lot of 401ks and stuff, and there's there's institutional investors. But let's get it right. I mean, it is actually the first time I've ever seen like a CEO of a company coming out talking like that, because most of the time, and this is what you see a lot too. I mean, because remember when the SEC cracked down, they went after they went after the whole Reddit group, and that, like, the whole idea that the whole reason that happened was because of the short that happened by institutional. They overshorted it.
Right.
They
Yep.
created their own conundrum, and they got swallowed up by their own stupidity. But the SEC, who's supposed to protect the regular Joe investor, Jane investor, right? But yet they came to the rescue of the institutional. So yeah, you're right. And this is where I think people feel very slighted in the whole thing about, imagine if the SEC came out and just said, hey, we think Ripple in 2013 sold an unregistered security. Now, hey, we're not saying we're not saying today's XRP is a security, because clearly it's decentralized because of X, Y, or Z or something like that. Okay, go fight the case, whatever. But they put Ripple's name, business, and a lot of this stuff attaches for a long time, right? I mean, people always, 3 years will be like, yeah, but they got sued, didn't they? Well, yeah, but that was like 3 years ago. But so these stigmas sort of attach. It could potentially hurt future business. I'm not so sure it will, but it's hurting business right now, and that's obvious. So they're coming
Yep.
after them. They singled them out, right? You
Yep.
have, if anything, in 2014, 2015 was a security, it was Ether, without even a shred of a doubt. And what looked very much like an IPO wasn't minted, and early investors getting in get it at this price, and you can get a very good deal. So yeah, it's going to be interesting how this thing, but I think ultimately it's going to be a good thing.
Yeah. So we have that. And then, then there's this new battle that's kind of looming on the horizon. And it's the CBDCs, the central bank digital currencies, the digital yuan, the digital dollar, the digital pound versus stablecoins, the private entities that are generating stablecoins, right? USDC happens to be one of them. Tether happens to be another one of them. And there's definitely a little bit of a, tension that's starting to kind of heat up right now. We're definitely seeing it. We're seeing it from a government level. And the conversation is just beginning. So, and this is an opinion piece, but I saw this and I thought he had 3 solid bullet points. The first one, and he said, my thoughts on this below assume the following scenario for the next 3 years. So you have the public blockchain infrastructure. And it's interesting when we start looking at infrastructure projects, because we've talked about that a lot, that it's It's the protocols, the infrastructure, everything that is going to actually move something. It's going to move the value. So you have
Right.
Ethereum, Polkadot, Solana, and he says here, starts getting real traction in finance. We're already starting to see traction in finance. I don't
Yes,
know
we are.
Polkadot, I don't know Solana. We're seeing Ethereum gain it again, first name
Look
recognition,
at
first
Quant,
mover
Jeff.
advantage.
Quant touched
Quant,
80.
what's that?
Quant touched 80, and I was tipped off at 12, and I was like, ah, man.
Yeah, and it's another project. So once we get into the finance, you get the institutions, the banks, the insurance companies, the asset managers. So he's starting to say kind of a what if this happens over the next 3 to 5 years, and we already see that is what's happening. So that's obviously what he's thinking about. Government-led alternatives.
By the way,
Yeah, go
Jeff,
ahead.
Danny
Yeah.
Pineda says, you two sound drunk today. Man, I really wish I had a drink, but thanks, man. Is that a compliment? I'll take it.
That's
What the
a
heck?
that's a
Let's take it,
compliment.
man. Thank you.
Definitely a compliment. So here you have government-led alternatives, so now they have the CBDCs offsetting everything, more regulation, more monitoring activities, and here global finance becomes more interconnected and borderless with the use of 24/7 public blockchains. And I like his points because, and he had more of an idea, ideas here in the
Oh, it's
article, but
right
those are
on.
solid points, right? I mean, those are like the
Spot
top
on.
three, but we already see that's what's happening. We're moving
Right.
in that direction, but there is tension, right? I mean, we have to look at government maintaining sovereignty versus the private entities.
Jeff, we have a request here from Dakota Shipley watching us live. The usual, sir, please. All right, man, here it comes just for you.
The usual, sir. Please.
Please. I love that. Please. We haven't played that in a while. Maybe it was last night on it. Thank you for
We
that,
played it
Dakota.
last night,
Appreciate
actually.
that.
Yeah.
We did play that. Yeah, we actually did. Hey, Jeff, did you know we
Here's
sound
my
drunk today?
brave.
Holy cow, we
No,
sound drunk
they
today.
don't. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe it's when you talk too much. But hey, Chip, I want to follow this up here. So
Load.
the crypto load of 100 billion stirs U.S. worry over hidden danger. The hidden danger of the private sector rolling out the stable coins. So this focus on the so-called stable coins, and they have to explain what it is in Bloomberg, a form of crypto that has
Make that
fixed
bigger.
price,
Zoom in.
typically $1, and is backed by real money reserves. Right, so that's the focus of the stable. At the end of May, the total market cap of stable coins, which include one offered by crypto firms Tether and Center, broke 100 billion. And now they're talking about the Fed Reserve, and they talk about the digital dollar, just like this other article was referencing. Now it's showing up in in Bloomberg. But look at this. This is, man, there's a problem in academia, right? Academia,
Really,
they're too smart for their own good because they overthink everything and they don't live in reality.
No,
so
they don't.
it's great when you live in academia and you live in books, other people's ideas, and you never step outside of that, right? And it's not the real world. And so here you have this guy, a fellow at Columbia, saying they're dangerous to both their users and as they grow to the broader financial system. And kind of goes on and on. Let me see. So then here's what I want to get your thoughts on this, kind of summarize this one. But here you have the Massachusetts Dem Senator Warren compared stablecoins to wildcat notes issued by poorly capitalized banks in the 19th century that later stuck many of their holders with large losses. So this follows up on the narrative that we're hearing from the IMF, the same narrative we heard from Maxine Waters, the same narrative we've heard from Elizabeth Warren in previous conversations, and other government officials. They're continuing some narrative that it's a big Ponzi scheme, that to one extent, Chip, we know, like with Tether, there were some concerns there. But what do you think about this whole narrative that's brewing as they're trying to make way for the CBDC and get people to embrace a digital dollar and get away from the crypto space?
Well, we talked about it before. I don't really see it because the problem with the whole CBDC thing is that we kind of already have the digital dollar, the digital this, the digital pound, the digital peso. Why? Because first of all, there's not enough fiat on earth to cover what is a number on your phone, in your bank, on your computer, right? So I think the biggest part they're missing, and I know it's difficult for them, but when the central bankers, they go like, we have a, they're missing the whole decentralization conversation. Nobody wants a centralized, right, anything. We're trying to get away from that. That's legacy stuff. We're trying to move in a direction of freedom, decentralization, freedom, less censorship, whatever it may be. And they're like, well, why don't we introduce a centralized digital asset? Will it live on the blockchain? Will it be transparent? Will it be decentralized? No. Well, we already have that. You can call it a different name. It's the same thing, but probably worse. So this is the part where it doesn't make any sense to me, Jeff. I can't make heads or tails of it, but the CBDC will crash harder. Nobody wants to hold fiat. Nobody wants. Do I want a stable coin, or I want to invest in a project that has a chance of doing well?
That's right. So look at Community Governance Node, or others know him as CGN, said Lizzie should come with her own disclaimer, not financial advice, which I think is really smart. And you might not want to take heritage advice from her either, because she might lay claim to other heritage.
That's right.
That is not belonging to her. And then yeah. So Veritas Equitas Semper has said, thanks to the court judge, Ripple now has 2 more months to expose additional SEC shenanigans. It's a nice way to look at it. I see, I can see that
that's I'm tipping my hat.
here.
I'm tipping my hat right there. That's a nice look right there, no doubt.
That's great, right? I like that idea. They have more time. You could look at it that the SEC has more time to try to dig up information, but it's the other way around. It's, they're tripping over themselves on a daily basis. So, hey, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be great for all of us investors. I think we're going to be, look, we the people, you can't stop us, man. You want to know why? Because to every elected official, there's thousands and 10,000s of us to you. Go ahead and try. Go ahead and try.
Yep.
You're not going to stop us. Look at this, Jeff. Do you know who this Yahoo is right here?
Oh, he's a scientist.
That's
and
Daryl
something
Duffy.
else.
Well, you said academia, so I thought I'd throw this up, but this is Daryl Duffy.
Oh,
now, last week, Crypto Eddie put this up. She said a slightly different narrative from Professor Daryl Duffy. The name is appropriate,
Duffy.
right? So Daryl Duffy last week was saying every country should ban Bitcoin. Every country should ban Bitcoin. First of all, cool that you're a professor. Kudos. Good for you. Congratulations. But I had to answer this here, and I'm like, once Daryl Duffy said governments around the world should ban Bitcoin, I'm sorry, but I stopped listening to him. His opinion means nothing to me. He is no expert. He's a so-called expert, self-anointed. He's just another deadbeat from academia. It's so funny you said that, Jeff. I don't know if you saw this thing, but now he's like, I tried to watch this. Should we try to watch this, Jeff? Should we try to play this and listen to him?
Is it brutal?
I don't even know what he says. I tried to listen to it twice. I can't listen to him anymore. I don't care. Like he was like, no, governments need to ban. He was on CoinDesk, I think, last week. Governments need to ban.
See what he has to say.
But I have to do is I have to unshare it. We stop it because you got to share it with the audio. Why doesn't it just share everything that I'm looking at? Let's try this. Let's see. Let's do the Chrome tab. And which one is this one? What is this? Gosh, I cannot find it in here. Holy cow, Jeff. I have so many tabs open right now. Which one is the right one, Jeff? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know which one this one is. I'm trying to
what you're looking for.
Hang on a second. I think I got to click on the one. No, it's because usually it has the. I don't know. I can't find. Anyway, let's continue on. I cannot, for some reason, the life of me, find it. And
so somebody just posted a comment here. I have no idea what language this is, but it's from Erdogan, Aliye Erdogan. Not sure. I don't know what language this is, but it basically translates into, as an investor holding coins in my hand, This will not be possible without the holdings of these partners and the burning of coins. I hope it will be seized. I don't know exactly what he was referencing.
I think
It
he's
was
talking about
somewhere
the
in our
escrow, maybe?
conversation. It kind of came up in the midst of our discussion. So if he wants to clarify a little bit, because I think we missed it, it just kind of flew past. Again, I don't know what language that is, but I don't recognize it.
Tell me if
Maybe
you
it's
can hear. Can you hear this,
Turkish,
Jeff?
possibly. I'm not sure. I think it might be Turkish.
In my
Yeah,
view, we don't actually need a central bank digital currency, although we may end up with one because the existing US payment system is falling behind, both technically and it's also very expensive to use. So the government may need to prod the banking system and credit card companies to improve. One way to do that would be to introduce a central bank digital currency. Although that may be the last option, there are other options like allowing fintech payment firms to enter the bank-based payment rails. And that could also prod more competition and technical innovation. So in the end, it may not be necessary to have a CBDC for the US, although I think the United States should develop one at this stage because it takes a long time.
Ugh.
I don't even know what he said, Jeff. I have no.
I don't
clue
know.
what he said.
I don't think they should.
do
but maybe
agree
they
that-
should because I agree, but I disagree, and they won't need it. But
What's
it's
up,
going to
Ed?
take a long time, so we got to put it in there. What is
Yeah.
up, Ed?
Well,
And what do we do with Rob, man? Rob late for class again.
Man,
I don't know.
Detention right away. Detention. Send him down there. And you didn't
And
have a
check
hall
that-
pass either, man. You
No
came
hall
without a
pass. Check out
Man,
Michael Angelos here.
That's a cool
Angelos.
picture. They're surfing right there, man.
That looks pretty sweet. Looks nice. Said my friend's a professor, head of a business college, and he strongly advised me against Bitcoin when Bitcoin was $300. Well, there you go. Yeah. Maybe
So-called expert.
is he
It's
still a
$300.
professor?
You think I should do it? No.
No.
It's the future. You don't want to deal with the future. We want to deal with legacy garbage.
Don't throw a $300 at it. You might man, it's crazy stuff.
So I want and I want to throw this up there because again, this gave me a little bit of chuckle here. And this is so the SEC put this tweet out there. It says, do you know why SEC Chair Gary Gensler asked the SEC staff to make recommendations on how the commission might consider freshening up Rule 10b 5-1? What, Jeff? Did you know that? Did you know why they asked SEC Chair? Let me ask a more interesting question. Do you care? No, I don't.
What
So
are we
here
talking
he
about?
is. These issues speak to the confidence and the investors have in the markets, and everybody from working families to big institutions to insiders has a level playing field. Okay. So Jungle Inc. weighed in. He says, how about you start a public Twitter account and let people make some recommendations? I'm
That's a
like,
start.
that is the best thing I heard all month. Yeah, why don't you make a public Twitter and why don't you let the people, you know, Jeff, the ones that they're supposed to be protecting,
The ones that
us?
hire them? Yeah, the
Right,
ones
but
that
they
they're
wanna-
hired to
But I'm sorry, no. Let's. Why did it? Hey, by the way, Gary, why did you? Why did you consider freshening up Rule 10b 5-1? These issues speak to the confidence that investors have in market. I'm like, what? So yeah, they weren't that kind either.
how did they
Until
respond
then-
to Jungle? Any response? No.
No special.
Was that I thought that maybe that was Gensler's response to Jungle.
No, it's just yeah.
An open discussion.
Yeah, John Doe said, I love the SEC News has an open discussion with citizens. I mean, you're supposed to be working for us, right? I'll keep dreaming.
Yeah.
Way to go, John Doe. Yeah,
Not
keep
gonna
dreaming.
happen. Not gonna happen anytime
Supposed
soon.
to be is like the operating word right there. Yeah, you're supposed to be working for us, but you're not. Jeff,
Oh
what
my
happened to
God.
the notification tonight?
I don't know.
Any
It
idea?
must have been delayed. I saw it come out on my end, but I believe it
never
was
got it on
delayed.
mine.
I think we're stuck in a
A time warp.
in a YouTube Bermuda Triangle,
That happens sometimes.
and we're stuck.
That happens.
Yep. So
It happens.
Crypt of High Roll said XRP on the sidelines, waiting while governments fiddle around, saying, "Let's try this. Nope, not this. That doesn't work. Try that. Nope, that failed." and government crumbles. Okay, XRP saves us. And
Zero
we kind
logic.
of see that, you see it, unfortunately, a lot of zero logic that's put into place when it comes to things like this. It's unfortunate, but it's the case. We're seeing that all over the world, even the G7 summit right now. I mean, the G7 summit could be tackling, some really important things.
Jeff, we're in trouble. Have you been watching any of
Nothing.
this? We're in trouble. This
It's
is
brutal.
a big nothing. Like Silhouette Park
brutal.
Farm, which I'm lucky enough to catch their live streams early mornings, which is great for early morning for me, but it's usually late. And they're usually drinking, which is awesome. But anyway, but they're a fun channel to watch because I told you my wife wants to buy a farm. We want to get a farm, and so it's cool
Nice.
watching it. So I show her some of the photos and stuff. But it says Ripple will be the Oprah Winfrey of CBDCs and cross-border payments. You get a bridge. You get a bridge. You get a bridge. You get a bridge. Everyone gets a bridge.
You get the Crypto Viral said use that voice anytime you want to hear insulting someone.
Yeah, well, I think that's my Gary Gensler voice right there. That's
Gary Gensler insulting.
Well, he's
voice.
Academia as well. That's my academia. Well, it's
Yeah,
like
you have to use that academia voice.
Professor Duffy, what do you think? I think that everybody should ban Bitcoin because it's bad. It's like, what? Bitcoin is bad. I'm sorry, that's my Duffy.
The usual, sir. Please.
Please. Yeah, the usual, sir. The usual. Yes, the usual.
The usual.
Hells yeah, for the usual. Hells yeah, for the usual. Yeah, so there's a lot of interesting stuff going on, man. I don't know. I really don't know what's up. I got to tell you, this new browser that I've been using, it does a weird thing. It throws a big blue dot up there, and it's very strange. I don't know.
They're recording everything you do.
Well, that could be
Parsa, the Persian, said at this point, they're exhausting us with this drag out. 3 years holding stronger than ever. There you go. They're trying their best. They're trying to really make it, they want to punish. They're trying to punish everybody. It's crazy to me. As we look around, here's another one. Nope, not that one. Okay, so here's another. And it's so interesting to see how they're coming out, and it's just this continuous, consistent narrative coming from these certain elements, within government or banking. This one is interesting because here you have the Bank of England's Bailey, digital currencies won't get a free pass. So he wants everybody to know that although there's huge potential for innovation, we're not going to give them a free pass, and they're going to have to meet whatever, whatever's going to have to happen. There's going to be regulation, there's going to be taxation, there's going to be whatever there's going to be. But the difference between this conversation and what we're seeing in the US right now with a work group having a discussion over a future potential of having another conversation to where they might even implement another committee to do more investigations. And here, this guy, look at this. In a keynote speech at the City UK's annual conference, Bailey noted that innovation needs to serve the public interest, and any discussion of a digital currency will be subject to a great deal of scrutiny. So
they're hitting the panic
coming
button,
right
Jeff.
out. They're all hitting the panic button.
They're panicking.
It's amazing. So look at this. He went on to say that stablecoins have the potential to become systemic in terms of their importance in the financial system and its stability. And the UK authorities are already considering the regulatory approach for both systemic and non-systemic stablecoins. So he's talking about, again, how are they going to create the regulation? He's looking down into the future and saying, hey, this is going to be, there's going to be some reliance on it. And, then he gets into talking about, let's see, now they're talking about the digital pound, or the, dubbed, what is this, Britcoin. So it's interesting to see the different dynamics, but this is on a global scale. So we see how the US is responding, how the UK is responding, how others are responding.
But Jeff, can you imagine if this same group of central bankers was in charge back in the mid 90s when the internet was just getting going. Yeah, it was a wild west. Yeah, nobody knew what was going to happen. But did you see people? Did you see them coming out and saying, we got to tax it, we got to shut it down? Well, it wasn't really a threat, but all of this is a threat to centralization, because and they're starting to feel the pain a little bit. So they were like, we got to, look, if you want to put the thumb screws on to the fintech companies, and you want to make it painful for blockchain companies that are innovating, right? Keyword, they're innovating in a decentralized arena. Good luck, because that is so far out of the the box right now. Genie is out of the bottle. You're not putting it in. Toothpaste out. If you're trying to put toothpaste, like you push a little too much, and you're like, oh man, you can never get it back in. That's where we are right now with the whole blockchain sort of the deal right now. And I think they're just hitting the panic button. Quite honestly, I can't say I blame them, because their very existence is threatened, because we talked about being getting away, being a cashless society, and the more we move away from cash, I think what was that article we had today? It was like 20%. I'm trying to find the cashless article if you want to pull that puppy up. I don't know where it is, somewhere. I don't even know where it is, but I got another one queued up anyway. So I wanted to talk about this one right here. This is an interesting thing. This is something I hadn't thought about before, Jeff, but a very necessary evil. If you're in tech, or you understand, you'll get this right away. But this is by Christian Hasker. He's with Hedera Hashgraph, and he said today's use case on Hedera is from the Hyperstack. They're using Hedera Consensus Service to revolutionize the certificate and credentialing market. The whole market out there, Jeff. It's a whole market. If you're going to be, it's massive. You're going to get credentialed. It's like, now here's the best part of it. It's like, check out their solution. So I like this. They talk about supercharging your traditional certificates, your certs, into smart digital certificates. So what an interesting use case that people really haven't thought about. I popped over here to a Hyperstack, and it's like, hey, supercharge those, because right now you get certs, you get badges, you're credentialed, so you can share, manage them, verify them. So this is the key thing. It's like you can actually verify it because it's on the blockchain. You can control privacy issues, design, you deploy it instantly. So this right here is something pretty cool. They're already got Stanford Medicine using it, Santa Clara University. Someone says they're credentialed in a particular area. Well, let's check. It's on the blockchain. Should be able to check it up, no problem. You got this thing called Ghost certificates, where you can issue instead of a regular certificate, you got a smart certificate. So this is really cool. They're showing you like,
well, it comes into play so often, especially in the medical space, where people need to receive training on something and they get a certificate, and then you have no idea whether or not they got a certificate. It goes into a file somewhere, typically the circular file gets filed in there, and you never see it ever again.
They call this number. It's like, hello, do you they're sort of, okay, cool. Somebody answers the phone. Hello, Santa Clara Medical Center. How may I help you?
Hello.
Yeah, there you go. That's the SEC, Jeff, calling.
Oh yeah, that's that. This
calling
is
for
the
1942.
You have the red phone on the president's desk. So this is the black phone. This is a direct dial to the SEC. And you get in here, and you got to dial it up, because the SEC starts with at least 20 zeros. So you got to get that zero. You got to dial it in, and
we used to dial 911, and then you go like,
but then 11 is fast. So then it's like,
but it also should be 111. It should be with 3 ones or something.
Or you get like that, let's say it was like 9, 8, and then you have another 8, and you like do it halfway. You're like, oh, I didn't dial it all the way. You got to hang up, and you got to start over again, and you do it. That's how Swift works, by the way.
That's how Swift works. So look, decentralized, each is maintained at a decentralized node, accepted worldwide, reverse traceable. So each record can be tracked back through its breakthrough on trust inheritance. And then you got military grade encryption. But I thought this was a really cool use case, because they kind of compare this Stone Age, which is like, if you go to payment space, that's the equivalent of Swift. Manual, labor intensive, expensive, individual mailing, time consuming, not secure. Or let's go to the digital era. Look at this, the smart certificate, all of these amazing things, blockchain powered, digital wallets, social media shares, branding and white labeling, all this stuff. So I just like,
Oh.
it's kind of a funny thing. I didn't think about that use case.
Chip, I gotta show you this. So
Please do.
XRP Panic said guy is using a rotary phone in 2021 dialed. But check this out. So back in the 50s, right? They didn't actually. So in the U.S., every country has a slightly different plug for their phone. In the U.S., we have these little tiny phones. I don't know. We don't have these anymore in our house. But it used to be this. It used to be a 4-prong outlet that you had to plug into the wall, and that's how the phones used to work back in whenever this phone came out, back pre-50,
You are a
pre-1950. And so then it had this little adapter that somebody had bought for it, and then there you go. Now you're good to go. And then this thing has got to plug into the wall if you want to use it, and then you're all set. So this was at my last house. There were 2 of them in the house, and we've had these sitting around. And it's kind of look at this. It's history.
So my wife would let that last in my house for about 3 nanoseconds. She'd be like, "Get rid of it now."
Get rid of it, man. It's awesome. You should see that. I got a typewriter also from like the 30s. Freaking awesome.
Is it like?
Oh yeah, it's got the whole big buttons and the big kind of upright.
Now, Jeff, I'm going to show you this story right here. I'm going to show you this story because this is not parody. This is reality. You want to check this one out just for a little bit of fun here. But this right here, you remember? Did you ever see Tiger King? Did you watch that on Netflix?
The who?
Tiger King, that show, Tiger King.
No.
Tiger King was probably, I don't know, you guys see that in the chat right there. But anyway, I loved it. It was like I couldn't stop watching it. It was just a lot of fun. Anyway, about a guy that they called him the Tiger King, and he had this rivalry with another woman, and they had competing, not in the same area, but they all had held tigers, and they would raise them and bring people in and exploit them and all that stuff, right? So Tiger King. So check this out. Well, Tiger King and the guy ended up going to jail, but don't you fret, Jeff, because check this out.
Oh, that's right. He's the one. Didn't he let his tiger go and it was running around the streets? Is that the one?
No, that wasn't.
Or is that somebody else?
There was some shenanigans,
awesome.
But Joe, he was called Joe Exotic. He jumps on the NFT bandwagon from behind prison bars. This was a pretty funny thing. So Joseph Maldonado, he's better known as Tiger King, Joe Exotic. By the way, Jeff, this is a great watch, by the way. It really is. The latest viral sensation to cash in on the non-fungible token craze, auctioning off a suite of digital and physical assets from federal prison. He's locked up, including an autographed photos, an adult star's bikini, and his Smith & Wesson pistol. There he is right there.
Nice.
There he is. And former zoo operator, big cat collector, serving a 22-year sentence. Digital tokens are due to go under the Hammer Friday NFT marketplace Mintable, with winners of the auction set to receive physical items along with the digital artwork. Now, I would imagine if I'm Joe Exotic, if I'm Tiger King, I'm sitting in prison. I don't have a dime. I lost everything. I lost my tiger farm, my tigers, everything.
He's over there on the computer.
I get rid of these NFTs. I get rid of these NFTs. I have some serious legal counsel, right? I might be able to cut my 22-year sentence to an 11-year sentence, get out on good behavior. By the way, you heard that reality. Now, Jeff, do you remember the thing where former NSA employee, Reality Winner, that was her name? She changed her name to Reality Winner, and she won a 5-year prison sentence. That's what she got to win because she was basically
That's nice.
taking secrets. And well, she got out early. I mean,
it's a nice way to win.
Reality Winner, you won it big. You won it all.
Yeah. Veritas Equitas Semper said, Jeff and Chip are the older brothers that we all wish we had. They possess both intelligence and common sense. They keep it real.
That's right. You go, little bro, or little sis, whatever. I don't know. It's hard to tell with that name, but you go, big bros. What's up? Yeah, that's exactly right. Jeff and I bringing it home, bros. So we got some interesting comments tonight. I'm kind of liking it, Jeff. We've been drinking, and we're like the big brothers I never had. And I will take both of those, and I will wear it with pride.
And then Rob McDermott comes out and says, Jeff will be pissed. He lost 8 hours of his life if he watches a Chip. He doesn't have the temperament for the crazy.
Oh, no, he does, man. Oh, this is the greatest thing ever. I was like, this is so dumb. This is okay. Go on. That's interesting. I'm not watching this anymore. Hang on a second. Jeff, you might not get through it, but I loved every minute of it. And then I watched the Joe Exotic tell-alls, and that was a blast to watch because you're like, where are they now? And they're like showing them all over. And it was like during the pandemic, they came out with like 1 or 2 specials. Yeah, I love all this reality stuff because I love watching human beings. And even if some of it's not on the reality thing, but you know, all that stuff, that 90 Day Fiance stuff, that like searching for sister wives stuff. I'm like, there are people like this. It's just great watching other people, man. I love that. All those reality type shows. Pundi X.
Yes.
Rapid a Pundi X, Jeff.
That's right.
That
Gotta
went the
I
way
gotta
of the
get some
rotary.
sound effect. I'll get the rail ring, and we'll have a whole. Someone said this will be a perfect skit for the who said that? Use this as a skit. Oh, here we go. Hyrule said it's a perfect prop for the Usual Sir skit starring Jeff and Chip.
The usual,
They're
sir.
like, hello, the
Please.
usual.
Please. Well, I just see Jeff tiptoe over there with that. And I'll sit in the chair like this, the hair blowing back in the breeze. Yeah, man, it's all doable. But I love that Tiger King thing. Jeff will never get back 8 hours of his life. Rob, it sounds like you also watched it. Sounds like you already watched it as well. I don't know. Maybe he just
Like
Googled it. Who
Steve
knows?
Willits just showed up.
Good day. He's nice. Is a good day. No, good day, lurker. So he's a lurker. I think I have a feeling he's a lurker.
He's lurking in the background. That's
He's a
interesting.
lurker. But yeah, so yeah, there's a lot of there's so many things you could potentially watch out there.
Yeah.
But part of it is you don't want to start watching it because then you get like sucked into it and you're like, there goes a couple days of your life. But I love binge watching stuff. I love when they release an entire season, which is pretty good. I want to throw this one up, Jeff. Pantera Capital CEO here. He says that the Bitcoin fund has returned over 79,400% in 7 years, returned billions of dollars to its investors. Pantera currently manages over 4.8 billion. And he says Bitcoin has only been this cheap relative to its trend, 20% over the last 11 years, according to Dan Moorhead. He also says that Bitcoin's still well below its 10-year compound annual trend. And it's not like overpriced territory or it's a bubble. And he's really spot on about that. I like Dan Moorhead a lot. But Jeff, look at that number. This is mind blowing.
Those are big numbers.
79. Let's squeeze round it up to 80,000.
79,000. It's called 80,000%.
80,000%. By the way, how'd you do with that Pantera fund? 80,000%. 80,000%.
80,000. What's the S&P index up?
It's not 80,000.
Past 7 years.
He says for new investor, best to buy when the market's well below trend. Now is one of those times, and it really is everywhere, right? So Bitcoin's only been this cheap.
As it cycles.
And he says more perspectives on market timing and our June investor. But if you look at the chart right here, zippity, zippity, zip, what do you see? You see a trend,
wow.
A big smile right there, a little bit, and then you're going to see another big zip. And the next one, we're probably trending to 80 to 100K sort of a realm. But man, down 36% over here, compared to that. It's pretty insane, right?
It is very.
He says, although a recent peak went over trend for 2021, in general, Bitcoin's far under trend valuation, currently trading 35%. It's 11-year exponential trend. And, what's so funny is like people start running. They're like, oh, it crashed. Yeah, that's the signal to buy, right? I mean, nobody wants to.
Media.
Like whoever's saying that earlier in the chat that said, yeah, his pal, his so-called buddy said like, hey, in academia said like, hey, should I buy into Bitcoin $300? I mean, I bought it right under $300, but I didn't know. I mean, I didn't even know if it hit 1,000. So who knew? I mean, you sell it at 800, you're like, you're like 2 or 3x your money. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it went to 20,000 and I was like,
you gotta have real staying power and vision, to see, the full scope of where things were going. It's like you had to say, hey, I'm putting money in and it's in there for 10 years and I'm never touching it.
No, you never
touched it.
Some people
did that. Some people mined it and left it. And, obviously they made millions off of it. Hey, here's something, as we're starting to see like real world use. Now, one of the things over in India, there's a lot of conflict going on, just like in China, a lot of conflict and tension going on in relation to the digital asset side of the blockchain and the technology side of the blockchain. And so here you have, I find this really interesting because you have 15 banks got together over in India, formed a new company strictly to process letters of credit in India using blockchain technology. I want to know where the digital asset part of that is. You know what? You know, give us like I don't know, Tether India or USDC India, rupee, whatever. I don't know.
I don't know if you
Tie
want
something to it. Be really cool. I want some. I want to
too
see
volatile, Jeff.
something a part of it, right?
Way
But
too volatile.
you know, I don't want their digital. I want to see, you know, an asset over here. Create like India XRP or something. But anyhow, so you see these banks coming together, focused on using blockchain tech to move letters of credit. The one thing that they're going to realize is that they need more than just the letter of credit's important.
Right.
And it's interesting too. Why are they recreating the letter of credit? That's one part I don't get.
It's legacy living in the future, Jeff, is what we keep saying.
And this is legacy living in digital legacy. You know, they're doing the blockchain, but no, my point is, why not just engage a smart contract?
Right.
Why not use some of the existing tech out there? Why did the banks create a new company to build a new infrastructure just for the LOC when there's so much more that needs to be part of the LOC? And I didn't read in depth, you know, figuring it all out. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. You know, we get all these banks together, you can kind of insinuate that if the banks are somehow part of it, that they've left a lot of the important components out. You know, that's just, you know, how I see how banks work. They're going to get too tied up in things that are mundane, that they think are important. They're not going to think about it streamlined, like if you took Ethereum or Polygon or Flare, or even, you know, building a side chain off the XRP ledger,
Right.
you know, that could actually facilitate all this.
It makes a lot more sense. I don't know, you know, probably because they're banks, Jeff. They're pretty traditional. They're like, hey, let's make a digital version of the LOC. It makes a lot of sense. It really does in smart contracts, but I think it'll be short-lived. I think the better thing to focus on here is the fact that 13 banks are getting together and agreeing on something that at least is going to be semi-digital. So
correct. Yep.
I wanted to remind everybody
it.
because, you know, Jeff, we have this
What is that?
podcast out there. I wanted to throw that out there right now, but you guys can subscribe to that. If you guys go click the subscribe button, you can see we're on all these cool places: Apple Podcasts, Google, Acast, Pocket Cast, Breaker, TuneIn, Stitcher, a lot of Spotify. We are everywhere in those places, and we're actually in other places too.
Wow.
So you can also see that. But and if you want to just come to this page too and listen, you can do that as well. And click in here, and you know, same thing you would see, but you're just going to listen to us versus. And this is a page where you can listen to it here, but you can just go listen to it in Spotify if you wish. So anywhere that sort of makes sense, you can do that as well. And I also wanted to throw our merch shop out there. We'll probably add some new merch soon, but there you go. There's the merch shop. Let me go ahead and throw that up there while we're
Hey, Hans Helders is saying hi from Vancouver, British Columbia.
What's up, BC in the house?
Always listening to us on the way home, long commute on the way home.
That's awesome, man.
So he's listening to us. That's really cool. Nice.
It's Hans Helder. I love that. So yeah, you can buy a lot of cool stuff there. The XRP is the big seller right here. It's one people like. Can't be 100% sure, but I think it's magic. And it was our very own OTC family member, Tony Fisk, that coined that one.
That was a nice one. That was a good phrase. So HBI is asking, do you think XRP will turn into 80,000%? It's insane. Kind of like what we've seen with Bitcoin. But we're referencing the growth of Bitcoin over 7 years. I'm sure if we date back 8-9 years ago with XRP, we're going to see a pretty big trend of big growth, you know. So this is good stuff, you know, really good stuff. Glad everybody's here with us. If you're brand new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. That way you're subscribed to On the Chain. Helps the algorithms, tells Google that, hey, you know, these guys are growing. Also hit the thumbs up, leave some comments. As much as you can engage on the platform, that definitely helps out. And you can even share the videos. That's pretty
That's
cool.
the best way to help us. Share it, bring more people in, expose us to more people. And we're not everybody's cup of tea, but just think of us as your big brothers. Your bigger brother, your older, drunker brothers. Think of us like that. That's always a possibility too. So, but anyway, enjoyed hanging out with you guys tonight. Thank you for coming on in. Chip and Jeff signing off, and we'll see you on the next one.
Tomorrow night.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.